Alrighty, so we just did number 3. We are going to move on to number 4. So with number 4, it says to calculate the distance formula between the points K, which is 0 and 8, P, which is -3 and 1, in the coordinate plane. Give the exact answer, not a decimal approximation. So our goal, we're trying to find the distance from point K to point P. We want the exact distance. So we are going to use our distance formula. K2 minus K1 squared, that's K1, plus Y2 minus Y1 squared. This is X1, this is Y1, this is X2, this is Y2, and all you're going to do is substitute in your X2s and your Y2s. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So X2, -3, minus X1, which is 0, Y2, which is 1, minus Y1, which is 8. And then all we're going to do from now on is to simplify it. And then I just keep simplifying all the way down. Square root of 58. I think on your notes in class, I think I might have put 59. But 9 plus 49 is 58. So my apologies on that. Excuse me. All right, number 5. Here they want to know what the x-intercept and the y-intercepts are. Your x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. I'm sorry, y-axis. Lordy. Y-axis. Alright, so here is my x-axis. Hence why that little x is there. This is my y-axis. Hence why that little y is there. So I'm crossing the x-axis at this point, which is 0. And also this point, which is 4. I also cross the y-axis at this point, which is 0. Number 6 asks for the midpoint. It says find the midpoint from A, which is -5 and 5, and 3, which is 3 and 1. I'm sorry, B, which is 3 and 1. So I'm looking for approximately right there in the middle. Well, we have a midpoint formula. And our midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. X1, y1, x2, y2. Label your ordered pairs. X1 is -5 plus x2, which is 3, over 2. Y1 is 5 plus y2, which is 1, over 2. Then I just simplify that. -5 plus 3 is 2, over 2. And 5 plus 1 is 6, over 2. 2 divided by 2 is going to give me 1. 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3. So my point, that should have been negative. which makes more sense. -1 and 3. Number 7 says the equation of a circle is given below. Identify the center of the radius and graph the circle. So the center of the circle is H and K. My formula for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So I'm looking at what they already gave us, and I want to figure out what is my h and k and what is my r. So x minus h squared, that makes sense so far. However, we have this y squared. And my question to you guys in class was, how can I change that y squared to now look like y minus something squared, and for it to be equal to each other? In class, someone mentioned y minus 1 squared, but that's still going to give me y minus 1 squared. That doesn't help me. I need y squared. So someone else said y minus 0 squared. Well, y minus 0 is equivalent to y squared, because like 2 minus 0 is going to get you 2. 10 minus 0 is going to get you 10. 50 minus 0 is going to get you 50. A minus 0 is going to get you A. So that's why y minus 0 is going to get you y, and that squared is still there in the problem. So I can rewrite this as y minus, here, I'm going to come here, y minus 0. So I'm just rewriting my formula here. That way I can see everything lining up, and I can identify my key features. Okay, so H is 1, K is 0, R squared is 25, but what is R? We'll take the square root of 25, which is 5. Then you would just graph it from there. Moving on to number 8. We're going to use our circle formula again. But here, there's something that does not belong on that left side. And how I know it doesn't belong on that left side is because I have variables on my left side. So I need to move something over to the other side that is not belonging, doesn't make sense, doesn't have a variable with it. You probably already noticed that it's -16. Well, in order to move -16 to the other side, I have to make it +16. So now that gives me x squared minus 6x plus y squared equals 16. Okay. So let's hold off on that y squared, because that kind of reminds me of what we just did on number 7. And that might be something easy that we can just jump to. But let's focus in on this x squared minus 6x. Well, that x squared minus 6x, I know I need my answer to say something minus something squared. Well, that reminds me of a quadratic. So that means I'm going to have to take this and do ABC and complete the square. So I'm just looking at this x squared minus 6x right here. Here we go. Completing the square. Complete the square means we are going to take b, half it, and square it. Well, what is b? Negative 6. When you half that, you get negative 3. When you square it, you get 9. Remember to add that to both sides. So, x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus y squared, because it's still there, equals 16 plus 9. Well, what's 16 plus 9? 25. So I'll just simplify that down to 25. We're still looking here. Remember in class, we noticed a trick. We noticed a pattern. Oh, negative 3 times negative 3 is going to give me positive 9. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6x. I noticed that because there's a 9 and there's a negative 6x. There's a negative 6 there. So I can jump down here and say, oh, x minus 3 squared plus y squared equals 25. Well, going back to number 7, for y squared, we said y minus 0 squared. X minus 3 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 25. What's h? 3. What's k? 0. I'm using this formula right here. And then r squared is 25, but I just want r. Take the square root of 25, which is 5. I'll write that over to the side. R squared equals 25, but if I want r by itself, that means I have to do the opposite of squared, which is to square root. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, Miss Finch said whenever I take the square root of something, that means it's going to be a positive 5 and a negative 5. Think about that. Can you have a negative radius? No, we've only had positive radiuses. Radii. I don't know. But, yes. So if you're thinking about that, it's because we're talking about a radius. Alrighty. We're almost done. Number 9 is function and not a function. Remember, we don't want to repeat our exes. We don't want to repeat our ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. That's how I know I'm functioning. I can move on with life. I'm not repeating my exes. If I repeat my ex-boyfriend or if I repeat my ex-girlfriend, then I'm not functioning. I'm in a toxic relationship. I cannot move on with life. A function means X does not repeat. Don't repeat your exes. Not a function you repeating them exes. You going back to them. Shame on you. Toxic relationship. I'm not judging. All right, let's look at number 1. We have C, D, J, F, Y. Function or not a function? Function. Nothing is repeating. We didn't repeat our X. Oh, let's go back and talk about domain and range. Domain is X. Range is Y. -2, -7, -7, 2, 0. Function or not a function? Not a function. Shame on you. You went back to -7 twice. 2, -8, 9, negative 3. Did you repeat? No, good for you. Z, K, E, S. Number 10. We're back on our circle business. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. It says write an equation, that is your equation, of the circle with a center of h and k and a diameter of 6. All right, we can do that. X minus h, which is 2 squared, plus y minus k. Well, k is negative 7. Oh, a negative and a negative makes a positive. Now, I want the radius squared. They told me the diameter. If I need the radius, that means I'm going to take the diameter and divide it by 2. So what's 6 divided by 2? 3. That's my radius, but I want radius squared. Well, 3 squared is 9.